I can start it out for you.
No,
We'll kick it off.
We're here with Collider. Be aware. Don't put your mic over your face. It's a tendency for people to do that. Hold it right here and you're going to be great.
Good to know.
By the way,
Hot
I
tip.
need you to be doing this at all of our interviews
I'll
coming
be here
in.
all day.
Yeah, that would be fantastic.
Yes.
In all seriousness, I have thought about, I'm not going to name an actor, but there's an actor that you would know.
Name him.
No, I'm not going to do it because I'm working on this. Okay. But I really, he and I had been discussing him going in to do junket interviews for me. And like, instead of being me to do the junket, I send in my friend who is an actor people know.
Okay.
To be like
a doppelganger?
Not really a doppelganger, but like actually do the junket just to see what would happen. And I'm like, because it would go super viral. You already know. Like, and you know what I mean? Like,
if you're talking about me, I think I would be very good at it. At the same time, I don't want to be anywhere near a junket that I don't need to be near.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Right.
But I'll do it for you if you ask nicely.
You think I won't, but I will.
I know you will.
Actually,
I can't believe I put myself in this
don't
situation
put that
now.
out there.
No,
what
the-
excuse
You
am I
offered
going
it
to
up.
have to
He's
back
busy.
out?
He's busy.
It would be better actually if it was the two of you together.
Surprising people
Yes.
at their junket.
You know what? I think I'm busy,
it.
but I think you're free that day.
Oh gosh, this is how it works in our relationship.
Okay, let me actually be serious and
Let's
do
do
a
it.
real intro. Hey everyone, this is Steve Weintraub with Collider, and I'm here at our Sundance studio, which is being sponsored by Rendezvous Capital. I want to give them a huge thank you for allowing us to support indie cinema and Sundance in general. We're also shining a light on LA Wildfire Relief Live, which is an organization that's providing relief to 5 different amazing organizations. I messed that up a little bit, but the fires in LA are really worse than you could possibly imagine. And anything that can be done to help people that lost everything is really important. If you have the ability to donate, it's at lawildfirerelief.live. And if you can. And on that note, going into Together, how are you guys doing?
Good. You?
Yeah.
I'm good. I'm still thinking about you doing junkets for me. But
Really painting myself into that corner.
like, what is it like? Is Sundance like a second home for you two? Like, do you have like a condo up the street?
This year it feels like it because I'm lucky enough to be here with 2 films, and I've been living Groundhog Day, where I'm going to the same studio every day. I mean, this is my second time seeing you in like 13 hours, but she's been to Sundance 7 times.
This is my 7th. But it's always new and exciting. It always feels different. I feel like it's been over a decade. It's probably been 15 years of coming here. So I feel like the festival is always evolving, and I'm growing and changing as a person, and the work that I'm bringing here is ever changing. So it always feels new and exciting, and it's such a coup just to be here. And we are so excited. We love this movie so much.
Right. Speaking of your movie Together, no one watching this will have seen it yet. So who wants to bite the bullet and say how they've been describing it to friends and family?
You do it, because I feel like I've done the last few.
I'll start. Okay. We got a codependent couple, not unlike ourselves. They're going through some issues. They move to the middle of nowhere to try to just kind of have a new start, but they encounter something supernatural that just kind of like brings all the issues right to the surface, and then it's
some issues they can't escape.
Sure, and it just goes full bonkers body horror mania.
So the thing about the two of you is that I've seen you guys together in person a number of times. You clearly love each other. Like, but I don't I don't want to like get like, I'm not trying to do personal, but like, and you work together, you write together. Like, but I am curious, what is it like to make a movie together like this, where you're playing a real couple? You know what I mean? Like, you know, using your own personal relationship.
Well, it was great timing, I think, to do this project. We have acted in some things together, and by this point, Dave has directed me in a couple movies. We wrote a film together. Our shorthand has gotten shorter and shorter to where it's like a mind meld, eye contact thing. You know, we've been together over a decade. So has this couple in the movie. We're very selective about projects that we will act in together. We read scripts quite often, you know, where we would act together, and it's all about which one makes the most sense. And this one did. Like, the script is so good thematically. All the set pieces in the movie are really tied into this exploration of intimacy and codependency. When do the joys of intimacy shift into the fears of codependency? How much do you lose your identity within a relationship? So it felt like the right piece for us. If there was ever going to be a moment for a meta movie where we were, capitalizing on our relationship, this was the project to do it. And at this point, we just know each other so well. We can just have fun together on set. And this movie is very physical. The physical demands were, I would say, different than anything that we've worked on before. So to do that together with somebody that we trust each other so much, we know each other so well, it got to be really fun without any of the nervousness that might go into something like that otherwise.
But it was the intimacy goes to such an extreme level, not just sexually,
but also sexually.
It goes to such an extreme point where we truly looked at each other at the end of each day and we're like, we could not have made this movie with anyone else.
Every day.
It would have been too weird. You just can't get to that level of comfortability with someone that you just met.
Also, it's a 21-day shoot. This movie was so ambitious for such a short amount of time. The shorthand helped us. We were thinking about how much time would be added just by trying to be polite and respectful to, not that we're not respectful with one another, but do you know what I mean? The amount of time it might take to be like, we can just pal around together and go, hey, should we say this a little bit faster? Should we do a little bit faster? Okay, let's go.
Sure. Obviously you're a couple. What is it like doing sex scenes in a movie? Like, do you want an intimacy coordinator?
It's hyper realistic.
But is that, and I don't know if you want to talk about it or not, but what is that actually like?
Well, this movie, it's so specific, I wouldn't say it's like
it's not a
romantic sex scene.
These sex scenes are not playing out for 6 minutes.
Well, also there's other
drapes blowing in the wind. It's
disaster artist style. There's so much else at play, I think, in the intimate scenes in this movie. Yeah. So when it was a real joke about hyperrealism, we're not trying to channel that. I think we're thinking about the other things. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Michael, your director, I read in the press notes, he said he was really excited about being able to use the cinematic tools I've dreamed of since my DVD featurettes obsessed childhood. What does that mean?
X-Men 2.
He does like X-Men 2 a lot. No, he's truly a film nerd in the greatest sense. Yeah. He watches everything, he knows everything, and he's technically a first-time feature director on this one, but he's been making movies, writing and directing, or not movies. He's been writing, directing web series and commercials and short films since he was a kid. And so coming into this one, he's one of the most experienced first-time directors that you'll ever meet. Where I think about other first-time directors, some people, they step on set that first day. That's the first set they've ever been on. And so he came in just so confident and comfortable. And to this day, I've never seen him stressed out. It's so impressive.
It made for a really fun vibe on set. But he is a bit of a jack of all trades behind the scenes. I mean, when he talks about watching those DVD extras, he was sort of that was the first time he realized, oh, I could do all this stuff. Oh, I could get, here are the tools to do it. And I mean, in this film, we had an amazing VFX team. Yes. We also do a good amount of Frame Store.
Work on the biggest movies in the world, and they helped us out with our smaller films.
We also do a fair amount of practical effects, which we all have a soft spot for that we love, and we had a great team doing that. But Shanks himself, our director of this movie, while editing this movie, completed over 100 VFX shots in this movie himself.
I was actually going to ask about if he had been here. It's so interesting because there's a lot of directors like Gareth Edwards and the person who directed Godzilla -1. Yeah. A lot of directors come from a VFX background and they actually amplify their own work with their own experiences.
It's the only way we could make this movie. And going into it, I feel like we had a fair amount of discussions in terms of again, of how ambitious the movie was and how little time we had to make it. And is it even possible? And part of that sell was Michael Shanks saying, it is possible. I will not sleep. I will do it myself.
Yes. He was like, I can't cut any of these shots. Like, I need all of this and I will do all the work. I promise you guys. And it made everyone nervous. But at the end of the day, he pulled through.
He did it.
When you saw the shooting script, you said it's 21 days. What day did you both have circled in terms of, I can't wait to film this? And what day was circled in terms of, how the F are we filming this?
Literally every day for both of those.
For both of those.
Every single day, there was something intense, whether it was emotional or physical, to the point where most days we're showing up at 6 a.m. and from the very first take, we are flying. Whether, you know, they're calling action, it's 6:30 and suddenly we're screaming our lungs out. We're being flung. Our bodies are flinging everywhere. It was full on.
Yeah, I think that a lot of the time, the things that we circled, there certainly were days where we would go, whoa, this is a big physical day. Let's look at it. Let's plan for it. And then out of nowhere, the very next day, we'd be like, oh yeah, this weird set piece is today. Even something that felt like a smaller moment in the movie is so heightened and the emotions are so high.
Because it's like, once this movie gets going, it's so relentless and it doesn't stop. And so once you're in that part of the movie, which is most of the movie, it's at 100. You're there the whole movie.
But that is part of the fun of working with Dave, because we both love the physical aspect of it. We get energized by that. And then we also are exactly the same in the way that we're like monks when we're shooting. And like both of us just go home, go to bed, maybe watch, 12 minutes of a show, put ourselves to sleep. We're not drinking. On the weekend, we're like, shall we have one beer? And then we cheers the beer. Then we're like, what a Saturday night. And then we look over our script and go to sleep. Yeah. So it was fun. And it was nice to like be living with your co-star. We got to utilize every second of the day. On the weekend, we could be running lines. Like no time was wasted. So we could always be prepared and ready to go.
And we had to, because the shoot was so ambitious for a 21-day shoot. And so we had to come in hitting the ground running every single day, knowing we were only going to have 1 or 2 takes for every setup.
I actually wanted to know, because what is it like? So you're going to shoot on Monday. How early on together were you guys like figuring out all your lines, rehearsing, getting in that headspace? And was it when you first got to Australia? Was it before you left? Like, how did that work?
Well, we came onto this project a long time ago because we were producers on it as well. And so we had just been living with the script for so long that it was kind of in us already. But I think once we got to Australia for pre-production, we had, 5 weeks to just like walk around Melbourne and run lines with each other. And I think that was when we really locked it all in.
I don't think we were there 5 weeks early.
We were there
I think we were there
5 weeks early.
Is this going to be the fight of the fight of the interview?
I think this is the
can I
fight that
speak
should
to you
tear us
for a
apart.
second?
Yeah. I feel like
this
this is worth ruining the whole relationship over.
Yeah, I do think prior to getting down to Melbourne, we had a series of sessions with Shanks where we weren't rehearsing. We were just talking through all the scenes in the script. There's a fair amount of like Australian lingo, because he's Australian, obviously, and we shot the movie down there, which was incredible. And so originally the film was set there as well. And when we signed on, we were like, well, we'll just set it in America now and shoot it down here. But we, it was little things like talking about the trunk of a car, which they call the boot, or things like that. So we had all these sessions kind of like talking through scenes with Shanks. And within those sessions, I feel like talking about the way couples talk to each other and things like that. Like, how often do you say your partner's name? This is something we always think is funny. Like, David?
In a lot of movies, people say each other's names so often. But like in reality,
we're like, babe?
Well, babe. Did you actually edit that so in the movie you're not saying you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
Not as much, definitely. It was
babes.
something that there's a lot of babes.
Yeah,
if you think it's too many babes, you have no idea how often we call each other babe. But yeah, so that was fun to get to be a part of that script work with Shanks, and he was so open and collaborative with that. And then once we got to Melbourne, we got to sit down in earnest and even sort of like walk through some of the sequences with a stunt coordinator and things like that. It was a good amount of time for prep, and even meet and work a little bit with Damon Harriman, who's the other actor in the movie, and he's incredible.
He also very talented actor.
Oh my God.
Yeah, like he's been at our Sundance studio in the past. He's very good.
He's a real chameleon, and he pops up in stuff all the time now that we're just like, it's Damon.
Yes.
Yeah. 100%. He also, I believe he played Charlie Manson
twice.
Exactly. 100%.
Both times, excellent.
Yes.
Right. With, I'm assuming you guys were very involved in the edit as producers. So how did the film possibly change in the editing room in ways you guys didn't expect?
The truth
We
is,
expected all the ways.
the truth is, it's pretty close, if not just even better than what we always imagined. And like, if anything, I guess some of the stuff that we couldn't have ever processed was some of the VFX work that Shanks had in his head.
Yeah.
And that stuff came together so beautifully. And like I said, it's like, we are a small budget movie, but it's such a exciting concept and script and idea that these huge companies were willing to come on and help us with the VFX. And like, the prosthetics, we had the guy who had just come from Furiosa do our tiny movie. And so the prosthetics
our
look
production
incredible.
designer and our prosthetics guy. Yeah, some of the scares, there'd be things we'd be shooting and I not quite sure how Shanks was going to edit that moment. Is this scare working? And delighted to see the way it came together.
I know at some point I'm going to run out of time, so I want to ask a few other things if you don't mind.
Do it.
You both have done a lot of stuff on your resume. If someone has actually never seen anything you've done, what's the first thing you want them watching and why?
Oh, wow.
For me, it has to be Glow. I love that show, and I just feel so proud of the work that everybody did on that show. And for me personally, I feel like it's like the only job where I got to do every type of thing, like comedy check, drama check, super physical work check. And we essentially got to play two different characters. I got to play Ruth Wilder. I got to play Zoya in The Ring. I just think that it turned out to be this like great showcase for everybody to go like, look, we have a lot of weird special skills. Here they are.
I'm going to give you a curveball.
Let me have it.
Is it crazy to say together? And if I wasn't going to say together, which actually might be my answer,
I want to change mine.
I would say I love Disaster Artist so much, and I really love 21 Jump Street, so maybe one of those two.
How easy is it for you guys to leave the character you're playing after wrap, and how much is like a piece with you for like a week or two? Like, you know what I mean? Like, how quickly can you let go?
Quickly.
Easily.
Yeah.
We let go, baby.
That said, with this movie and weirdly a lot of movies recently for me, I leave and my whole body is just covered in bruises. Like, and so that lingers for a while. I mean, on this one, again, we're just throwing our bodies in really unnatural ways to the point where like I'm coming home each day and I'm taking a shower and I get out of the shower. I'm like, oh, babe, back of my leg really hurts. And she's like, you have a welt the size of my head on the back of your
And then
leg.
he's like, take a picture of it. We did have a collage of all Dave's bruises from this. Yeah. Cool.
If you could go back in time and do one more day on something you worked on in the past, whatever it is, what day would you love to do? Like, what project would you love to do one more day on?
Because it was so great, or like we want to.
We like terrible.
Well, like maybe there's one that you're like, oh, I wish I could redo that day.
It could be anything.
Well, that's kind of throwing yourself under the bus.
Yeah, I wish I could. I did bad work on this one day. What? Go back and watch the scene.
Most of the people that I've asked this question to are like, I wish I could do one more day on this theater production or one of these days.
It was fleeting.
You know, like, or what? I mean, it could be any answer, but it's generally something that you loved, I guess. Doing.
I'm just going to say Glow again because we were meant to make a fourth season of the show.
I wanted that fourth season also.
We shot the first 1.5 episodes. I shot this huge wrestling sequence with real pro wrestlers. It was a tag team match. It was so fun. That will never see the light of day. I just would love to spend one more day with all my gals.
I really was sad when that did not continue going.
Thank you.
More, obviously not as much as you, but as a fan, I
feel
wanted
like
to
it
see
was the same. I think it was the same amount.
100%.
Yeah.
Just off the top of my head, just the things that I had so much fun on is Neighbors and the Now You See Me movies. And, you know, we're still making Now You See Me movies, so I will take that off the list. And if we could do another Neighbors, I just have so much fun with that group. We all know, we've known each other for a long time. And, you know, they just make it easy. Like, I remember being on, I was barely in Neighbors too, but like on the first one, just having Seth and Evan and Stoller behind the monitors, just feeding us gold and making it so that you can't fail and you just feel so protected.
Speaking of the Now You See Me movies, you recently filmed the third.
Correct.
What do you want to tease people about it and the fact that the cast seems to get crazier each time?
Crazier in what way?
Well, look, it's a huge cast.
Go on.
You know, it's all you. People don't want to have me talk. They want you to talk.
I think it's been announced who's involved, right?
Who
do you know that's
who
involved?
else do you think's who else do you think's involved?
I don't want to say because
Do it.
no, I don't. Off the top of my head,
Is it because you don't actually know, or you?
No,
just...
I don't remember.
Okay.
I don't remember.
I think it's out there. Rosamund Pike.
Yeah, no, that's known. Yeah, that's known. That's known.
She's great. She's excellent. Like I said, like I just have such a good time with this cast. I don't think there's any sets that I laugh more, and I just like we've known each other for almost 15 years, and I just adore all of them. And weirdly, like, we're all kind of different, but when we get together, it's just like this love fest. And she kind of has the same thing with her Community crew.
Yeah.
And so if we can make 10 of these, like, I just would love to just keep doing stuff with them.
What do you want to? I don't know what's been announced with the plot. What do you want to tease about the story?
You know how these movies are. Like, I barely
Some
know
magic.
what's happening.
There's some magic.
So you're saying that something happens, there's magic, stuff like that.
Yeah. There's magic in this one.
Did you learn any new skill set for this?
Yeah. I mean, my character, it's always been more about kind of hand dexterity stuff and like different, I've always been the guy who throws cards, but like now I find different ways to throw cards. But it's actually very impressive. I put a lot of work into it.
Listen, I'm a fan of the movies because they're just fun. Like
Yes.
you're not overthinking things.
I love them.
They're a great time. And I truly think like audiences can feel the love that we have for each other.
100%. I definitely am curious about Masters of the Universe. This is a film that has been in development for like 29 years. It's finally being made, and you are playing Evil-Lyn.
Yeah.
What the hell is it like to get the call to be like, we'd like you to be Evil-Lyn?
I'm so excited about it. I sort of felt like I manifested it because I had just been talking to my team and kind of being like, if I was ever going to do one of those big actiony movies, it would be fun to be villainous. I want to put that out there. I was like, isn't there like a villain's assistant that people need? And like 2 weeks later, they were like, hey, there is a villain's assistant, if you could call her that. So I'm so excited. I've never done anything like this before. So I'm sort of curious to see what I come up with.
And so that's the thing. I actually don't know. Like, are you filming? When do you start? Like,
filming is about to start. Everyone's in pre-production now. I was just out in London lifting some weights with Half Thor. And yeah, we're all just getting yoked.
Tell them about
You don't know who Half Thor is?
I don't know who Half Thor is.
Professional weightlifter, one of the strongest men in the world, was on Game of Thrones.
Oh, you're talking-
His real name is Half Thor. He's Icelandic.
You're talking about The Mountain. Is his name The Mountain? The actor?
His name is Half Thor.
Right. I can't believe his name is actually Half Thor. Like, that's throwing me.
Yeah, it is. And he and I lifted weights together, and we're getting yoked.
It was so funny. I was at home, and I was lifting. We have like a very small, like kind of gym space, whatever. And I was like feeling pretty good. I was like, ooh, I'm in a rhythm. And I never send her videos of me working out. And I sent her one that day. And she literally responds with like, cool. I just worked out with the strongest man on earth. And I was like,
literally, I think he's in the Guinness Book of World Records.
And I was like, it's pretty impressive what I did though. Like, I'm not that big of a guy. I feel like, proportionate
And
to
I
our
agreed.
sizes and
And
what
I
we were
agreed.
doing.
It was impressive.
I don't know if you can say anything, but what can you tease about your costume, makeup? Like, are you allowed to say anything?
I'm not saying a damn thing. You eat your heart out. You better just wait till this movie comes out to lay eyes on it all.
I understand. So I've waited for as long as you guys for a Community movie, and Dan keeps on talking about it. So I keep thinking it's actually going to happen. So is it actually going to happen?
I don't know. Every day obviously everybody's schedules are tricky and maybe that's the main thing. I feel like, but I maintain an optimism. I'm always hearing checking of avails. So that's always a good thing. We're checking new avails for later in the year. So, again, like Dave was saying about the Now You See Me cast, we all love each other so much. Everybody wants to do it. So there's the willingness. I feel like that's the first step, is all of us just being like, let's get the gang back together. So your guess is as good as mine, though.
So you guys have written together in the past and you have obviously directed. Are you thinking about directing again? And are you guys writing anything together?
We're thinking about it.
Thinking about it. I wrote my first script on my own, and it's kind of a thriller. And hopefully that's the next thing I get to do. But I've been sitting on it for a moment.
Can you tease a title, or you don't want to say?
Can't do that quite yet.
Don't tease a title.
No. But I'm very excited about it, and I feel mentally maybe kind of towards the end of this year I'll be like ready and have the energy to like commit myself to one thing for multiple years.
Okay.
Yeah. And I guess I'm writing a horror comedy with a new writing partner, Alice Stanley Jr. She's a playwright. She's so funny. She's so smart. She has stuff in development with Adam McKay. And I don't know, we're just in a groove with this horror comedy. I don't know where it's going to go, but it's wild. It's fun. And we have another idea that we've been talking about, gestating. It's a lot. We're very genre forward these days. Our minds are very focused on horror thrillers.
Do you like horror movies?
I do like horror movies, but the truth is Perry, who is right there,
we
is
know Perry. We know and love Perry.
We know Perry.
Yeah, Perry is a horror fanatic.
I know that. Perry, I remember still when I was first promoting The Rental and no one had really seen it. I remember seeing you and you were so kind, and it's making me emotional to truly bring it up right now. Yeah. And that's embarrassing.
Honey! Oh my God.
I just remember she was one of the first people, and not many people had seen it, and I was so vulnerable, and I just remember you being very, very kind.
Perry.
Someone get me something.
Use my sleeve.
Yeah.
Oh.
Vulnerable
Isn't
directing.
The Rental great? The Rental was so great. Oh my God. Dave is the best director and he's a phenomenal writer. I'm very excited for his next project.
I have to wrap with you, but just one last thing. I wrote down for you The Revisionist.
Oh yeah.
And with you, I wrote down Regretting You, Josh Boone.
Yes.
What can you say about these things?
I just shot The Revisionist, writer-director Alex Vlack's first feature. Andre Holland, who's here at the festival, co-stars, and Dustin Hoffman and Tom Sturridge, and it was a fantastic shoot. The movie is super cerebral. It was really gratifying. It was another just low budge passion project for everybody, and the dialogue is so great. It almost felt like doing a play. It was really fun. These actors were such good actors. Working with Andre was so fun. Just kind of, and Alex, as a first-time director, came in really confidently and kind of let us play, which sounds so pretentious, but it was really gratifying, I think, as an acting piece. I felt a new freedom I hadn't felt before. That was fun.
I first have to apologize. I'm very sorry I asked one last thing. And the last thing.
Regretting You in the Colleen Hoover verse, if you will. It's, I was excited to try something new for me. I've never done a straight drama that's kind of this romantic thing too. And I think it's scary to put yourself out on a limb and try something new, but I think that's also the reason to do it.
100%. Listen, I really want to say to both of you, I'm a really big fan of both of your work. I'm so thankful you came in today, and have a fantastic Sundance. And you can go hug Perry after this thing is over.
Perry, am I correct in this story?
God, get a room, you guys.
So embarrassing.
That wasn't me.
I know it was Perry.
Okay, good,
Horror
good.
and Perry are best
Okay, good,
friends.
good.
You know, on
We
that
love
note,
you too, truly. You've always been so kind to us.
Thank you.
I appreciate that.
Yes.
But anyway, tune into more Sundance interviews soon.